Hi everybody, I'm Susan Mulvihill. I'm not in my vegetable garden today, but I'm still going to be planting vegetables. Find out what I'm up to in just a moment. What I'm going to be doing today is planting a GreenStalk Vertical Planter. A few months ago, this company contacted me and said, hey, would you like to try out one of these? And I've been seeing these planters in different people's videos, and I thought, what a great idea, especially for someone who is short on garden space. Maybe you only have a little part of a patio or a little part of a balcony to garden on, and this seems like a great solution. I've seen lots of videos showing how well plants grow in them, so I wanted to give it a try too. And I'm going to do it right out here on this small patio. So I think the first thing that they get points for is this beautiful packaging, because look at this. Usually you just see a regular box. This has got all kinds of veggies on the side, so that's cool. But what I like about GreenStalk is that, first of all, it's made in the USA. It's a family-owned company. They use food-safe plastic to make it, so there's no BPAs, there's no PVC, nothing nasty like that in the product. It's also guaranteed for 5 years, which I think is very impressive. So what I opted for was the 5-tier GreenStalk Vertical Planter, and I wanted to unwrap it today. It's finally warm enough for me to plant some warm season crops in, so I'm really very excited about this. Okay, let's see what's in the box. Excuse all the noise. So there are 5 tiers that are part of this planter. I've got instructions, which is great. Ooh, there's even some bean seeds in here. And I also opted for a caster that's called a mover on the bottom so that I can move this around as needed. And there's water reservoirs. And these are the tiers that you plant in. There's 5 of those. You can see this is a lot of growing space that will have a small footprint. The first thing I want to do is set up this mover with the casters, and as the instructions point out, there are 3 of these casters that are locking and 3 are non-locking, and you can tell they're locking because you see this little mechanism here. And so you're supposed to alternate locking, unlocking, locking, unlocking, and so on. So I think all I have to do is just push them in here. Yep, they're staying put. Here's a locking one. Oops. Non-locking. Locking. And non-locking. Okay, that was about as easy as you can get. So I wanted to assemble this so that I can build on top of this mover. Down on the ground, of course, but here we are. So there's a nice little caster system. Okay, so here is the mover. It's on our patio, and the instructions say it's very important to use this on a level surface, and when you get the planter to the position you want, go ahead and lock those 3 locking casters. I'm going to put the bottom tier on top of it. You can see how easily that fits together. You'll notice I went for the chocolate color, heavy emphasis on chocolate. Now each of these tiers holds about 1 cubic foot of potting soil, and I'm going to use an organic potting soil, particularly because I'm going to be growing edible crops in here. Now I'm going to put the potting soil in. The instructions say do not pack it down or compress it because that might distort the shape of the planter, and then it will be difficult to put these interlocking tiers on it. So I'll fill this one. The other ones I'll fill just individually on the concrete for starters, and then lift them all together to assemble the planter. The next step is to plant your veggies in this first tier, and it's really important to plant them very close to the outer edge of the tier. I've got some eggplants that I started from seed, so I'm going to poke them in first and encourage the plant to grow out a little bit. Once I have all of these planted, I'll level out the soil a little bit. You'll probably notice there's a pepper plant over here, and that's just because I only grew 5 eggplants. So I needed to fill in the gap here. So the next step is to put the water reservoir on. And if you look, it's a little bit hard to see, but there is a hole at the center of each of these sort of pie-shaped wedges. And so when you put this on top of this part of the tier, you want to make sure that those holes are going to be pointing to right at the center of these pockets. That way the plants will get watered really well. And that's one of the reasons I like this design of planter, because they made it so that it will water from the top down, and so that each of these pockets gets evenly watered. And I think that's ingenious. Okay, so I have all 5 tiers planted. On the left is the first one that I planted with the eggplants and 1 pepper. And then next to it on the right in the back is strawberries. In the foreground is calendulas and 1 zinnia, because only 5 of my 6 calendula seeds germinated. Isn't that just the way? And then on the far right in the back are more peppers. Those are patapeño peppers. And on the right are golden bush beans. Now to put it all together. I also want to emphasize how important it is when you're planting these pockets to put the plant right up next to the edge and facing out, like I attempted to do with the eggplants, so that when you're putting the tiers together, these are still hanging out where they're going to get plenty of light and be able to grow. And now my sweet husband Bill is going to help me assemble the layers.
Hi everybody.
Okay, there's... Oh, that went together great. Next goes the water reservoir on the top. And make sure it's clean so that there's nothing in there that would clog it for later. There we go. So these layers are interlocking. The top one has little feet that stick down and latch onto the pockets on the outer part of the previous tier. That looks good. Next water reservoir. Okay. Wow, that went very easily. The last step is to put this water reservoir on the top, and it also interlocks so that the drainage holes are pointing to each pocket as well as going straight down. And it's so cool hearing it fill the different levels. So you cannot plant any plants in here. This is only for water. I just wanted to clarify that. Because I used a dry potting soil, I know I'm going to have to refill this water reservoir a few times today, and that's just to make sure that the potting mix is evenly moist around these little seedlings. So when I chose the plants that I wanted to grow in here, I liked the idea of having flowers that would attract pollinators, and also calendula flowers are edible. I didn't know if you knew that. Also, having strawberries, that's kind of fun to have some fruit right outside our back door. Green beans, peppers, and eggplants. And the nice thing about the flowers attracting the pollinators is, of course, that they will help pollinate the different types of veggies I have here. I think that the GreenStalk Vertical Garden is very cool, very well designed, and I'm very excited about using it this summer and seeing how all of the plants do. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. I'll see you next week.